Hey everyone, Gavin here. We've had a few people ask on the forum and on other forums all over the internet and Facebook and so forth exactly how to use the Apple remote control on your Geek Pulse, so I thought I would show you how to do that. I hope you'll forgive that I have decided, well, I'm being forced to use one of our old prototype Geek Pulses here because any Geek Pulse that we manufacture, we ship out the door. So the only ones that we have around here are our prototype units, which is why it's so scuffed up and banged up and has a big hole in there. But this will do. So here's my Apple remote. You can get Apple remotes, through Apple or through Best Buy, a lot of electronic stores. They're pretty much everywhere. In order to use this with Geek Pulse, you start out by pairing this remote with Geek Pulse, and you do that by pushing the menu button and the right button at the same time and pointing it at the IR receiver of Geek Pulse. And you push that in and you hold it for about 5 seconds, and it'll give you a pairing code. Once it has showed you the pairing code, it is paired. You don't need to use that code for anything. It's now paired. So if I turn the volume down and back up, you can tell that it's working now with this remote control. So you'll never use the play pause button. We haven't built in a functionality for that. What you will use is the menu button and then the left and right and the up and down. So when we're on the main screen, which is where we are now, we can see the sample rate and the volume attenuation indicator. One click of the up or down button will move the volume half a dB. If you hold it down, it'll start to speed up. It'll make bigger jumps. And it'll turn it all the way down to all the way off, which is 128 dB down. Same thing when you go up. It'll if you hold it, it'll go pretty quickly. If you want to fine tune, then you just do little clicks here and there. So that's number one. Number two is going through the menu system. What I do to remember how to do this is I remember that when I go into a menu, the menu itself will be vertical in a tree, and if I want to select that specific thing, I need to move to the right, and if I want to back out of it, I move to the left. So for an example of that, if I hit menu, it'll get me into this menu system, and I can go up and down. I can see all of the different menus. So I've seen input select, gain select, digital filter, volume settings. I can take a look at the firmware. So on the input select, when I want to get into this menu, I go right, and it will give me several options. Now, to select the option, the input that I want, I need to continue to go right. So here's USB, I go right, and it has selected USB, and you know it has been selected because it'll go all the way back to the very beginning. Let me give you another example. I'm going to go in and look at the gain select. I'm going to go right, and now I can look at low. Right now it's set to low, there's medium, there's high, and if I hit the right button, you'll hear the relay click, which means it's now on the high gain setting. So if I go into that menu, say I'm in here and I'm high, medium, but now I don't want to go low, I can go back and get back out to the previous menu. The other thing I wanted to talk about real quick while I've got your attention is the digital filter. So I've gone into the digital filter menu by going right, and then I can choose time coherence mode, frequency response mode, and then you'll see a couple of other modes, SSM and FTM. These are actually placeholders for a couple of filters that Larry and I are working on that we'll be able to send you in a firmware update. By selecting one of those digital filters, if I were to select FTM, for example, by hitting right on my button right now, it would say that it's in FTM, but it will stay on the same filter that you're on right now. Now, the reason we had to do this is because Geek Pulse has two boards. There's a control board here in the front, and then the main actual board that does all of the magic laying down flat. The board in the front, we can't flash its firmware by USB. Obviously, the board in the back, we can flash its firmware by USB. So we wanted to prepare the menu system for anything that we were planning on doing in the future. So that's the reason that we did that. So anyway, that's how you use the remote control, and hopefully it's pretty intuitive for you. And if not, please post some questions on the forum. I'm happy to respond to those. Thanks, guys.